Hello there, and welcome to Men's Health Week 2020. I'm Dr. Neil Hall from the Men's Health Information and Resource Centre at Western Sydney University. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which we are working, travelling and standing. From where I'm coming to you today, in the beautiful Blue Mountains of Sydney, these are the Darug and Gundungurra nations, two of many traditional custodians around the country. I'd like to pay respect to elders past and present and extend that respect to any Aboriginal Torres Strait Island peoples and other First Nations peoples who may be joining us for this launch. Men's Health Information Resource Centre is funded by the Commonwealth Department of Health under the Male Health Initiative to coordinate National Men's Health Week. Thank you to the Minister for Health, the Honourable Greg Hunt, and his dedicated staff for their ongoing support of this initiative. Working together for men's health, because it presents us with an opportunity to recognise that promoting and improving the health of men and boys and preventing male suicide is not just men's business. All genders, all cultures, all workplaces and whole communities are working together to do this. And we have much to learn from collaborating with each other. Now, in any normal year, there would be close to 300 live events happening at the local community level around the country. And this is actually the backbone of the success of Men's Health Week. In 2020, however, with the social distancing measures having been introduced to slow the spread of COVID-19, our campaign has moved online. So, as well as coverage across news media and social media, encouraging communities to host virtual events instead. We're also encouraging everyone to reach out and just check in with a male in your life, to make use of the excellent range of resources on the website, menshealthweek.org.au, and to always remember that call centres are available if you are in need of crisis help. Now, Men's Health Week draws attention not just to men in crisis, but to the social determinants of all aspects of male health. Talking and seeking help is important, but we need to give attention to those broader concerns that lead to poorer health and risk of suicide among men. Access to male-friendly services, for example, and big issues like unemployment, social isolation, relationship breakdown, and loss of land are primary among these concerns. That's what makes it so important to work together at multiple levels to gain some ground, and even more so during the current pandemic. We want to draw attention to these issues, but we also want to celebrate the great work that's being done around the country to improve the health of men and boys. For this virtual launch of Men's Health Week 2020, I'm very pleased to introduce Gus Worland, who is doing the honours this year. Gus is a radio host and TV personality and founder of Gotcha for Life, a foundation that's established to proactively encourage Aussies to speak up and ensure they all have a close friend in life they can go to when times are tough. We're delighted that Gus and Gotcha for Life are able to partner with us for Men's Health Week 2020. Gus.
G'day, it's Gus Worland here from Gotcha for Life. I'm the founder and the CEO of Gotcha for Life. I started the foundation about 3.5 years ago. I started off the back of a TV program that I made for the ABC called Man Up. And it's 3 1-hours basically challenging masculinity in this country and why we lose so many beautiful men every day to suicide. We lose 6 blokes a day every day to suicide in this country. We lose 2 beautiful ladies as well. It's the number 1 way to die if you're an Australian male aged between 15 and 44. And as you can probably tell, I sort of tear up every time I say those stats because it's just so sad. When I found out that stat, that it's the number 1 way to die if you're an Australian male aged between 15 and 44, I realised I had to do something. And at the time I was working on Triple M Radio on the Grill Team, which was a morning breakfast show. And I think at the start of the breakfast show 10 years ago, there's no way I could have talked about mental illness or mental health, or what I'd like to call mental fitness. It just was a bit of a taboo subject. But I've found over the last few years, the awareness has become so much better when it comes to mental health. What I basically did through Man Up was go on a journey to find out why a friend of mine had taken his own life. He was a guy who I just loved. I adored him. And it's hard to talk about it still. And it was 11 years ago, but he seemed to have everything. He had a beautiful wife, children, seemed to have a good job. If you looked at his life, you would probably say that he ticked all the boxes. But the truth is, he was in pain, and he ended up taking his life on the night that his son finished his HSC exam. Meant that he had that date in his diary. He knew that that was the day that he was going to take his own life, and he did. And there was 1,200 people at his funeral the week later, and not one of us had a clue that he was in any sort of pain. We just didn't know. And if he had been able to reach out to one of us, or to show a little bit of vulnerability, then I think then a lot of us would have been able to help him. He didn't want to show what he thought was weakness by asking for help. He was very happy to give people solutions and advice and to be the go-to guy. But he wasn't the guy that felt that he could tell anyone about how he truly felt. And it's just so sad to today that he didn't have that emotional muscle. So through the Man Up program, I realised so many blokes are like that. We are taught from a very young age to man up, shut up, take a teaspoon of cement and harden the you-know-what up. And it's all about just bottling up your emotions, gritting your teeth and just getting on with it. There's no one telling you that it's okay not to be okay. There's no one there saying it's all right if you haven't got the answers. No one is saying that you can bumble your way through life. You've just got to be able to cope. And that's the way that my grandfather was brought up, my father was brought up, and of course that's the way that he taught me. But the thing is, those man rules that were set all those years ago, let's say 100 years ago or more, well, the world has changed. Life has changed. This is not the time now to go and say, well, they're the set of rules and that's just the way it is. We can actually change these rules up a bit. I love being an Aussie bloke. I love being a blokey bloke, if you like. But I think the most important thing is to be able to be that when you need to be and show some resilience and work hard. But if you need to burst into tears, if you need to break down, if you need to have a deep and meaningful conversation, if you need to have a conversation where you show real vulnerability, then you should be able to do that. And the thing is that most blokes don't have a friend that they can do that with, or if they do have a friend that they can do that with, they don't know how to start that conversation. We give ourselves permission to cry. We give ourselves permission to cry at sporting events, at weddings, at funerals. But anything sort of outside of that, Australian blokes in particular, I think blokes in America and in the UK as well, we don't have permission just to show real emotion around what people think are just everyday issues that you should just be able to, get it on with. We don't want to feel that we're embarrassing ourselves or worrying other people with our dramas. We should be able to deal with stuff ourselves. Well, the thing about that is that we've been doing that for a long time, and the stats are the stats. Let's go back to it. The number one way to die if you're an Australian young male is suicide. We're losing 6 blokes a day every day, a couple of ladies every day. More ladies are attempting suicide than men. We had nearly 70,000 people attempt suicide last year. Now, if those numbers were linked to the road toll, they'd ban cars. They'd make driving illegal. That's how many people are dying or attempting to die every single year. Now, some of those, of course, are cries for help, and thank God they're unsuccessful, but there are a lot that are being, men in particular, going and killing themselves in a brutal way. So we've got to do something about it. So Gotcha for Life was started off the back of the Man Up program. and we sponsor and support any programs that are out there that are building mental fitness. And when I talk about mental fitness, I think it's a better term than mental health. Mental health just has a negative connotation, where mental fitness, you can give yourself a bit of a mark. So anyone watching this now or listening to this now, if you can get yourself a pen and paper out and just write down what you believe your score is out of 10 for your physical fitness. So how fit are you? Could you go for a run? How long could you run for? Could you go for a walk regularly? Are you carrying a few extra pounds? Whatever it might be, give yourself a mark out of 10. Now think about your mental fitness. So you've got your physical fitness score. What's your mental fitness score out of 10? And if that number's not 8, 9 or 10, then you've got things to work on. The number one way to get yourself mentally fit is to find yourself someone who has got you for life. Someone who you can have a conversation with, warts and all, without any judgment. So look at your friendship group now and look at your mates now and try to turn them into friends. So it means taking that mate and just adding that extra 5 or 10% where you're open, honest and vulnerable with them. And that allows them to be open, honest and vulnerable with you. And that just consolidates the relationship. It makes the relationship stronger and deeper, which means when you are in a position where you need to talk to someone about your feelings, then you can ring up that person, or you can text that person, or you can FaceTime them, or you can just knock on their door, and you can just be totally and utterly natural with them, and you don't need to put on any airs and graces. That's the type of relationship that I would like Australian men and women to start working on, turning some of their mates into proper friends. And I think the most important thing we can do is not worry alone. If you're worrying alone, then you are having all these thoughts and feelings where you're not getting them out, and you're more likely to make a poorer decision. So that's just one thing that we can work on right now, is to turn some of your mates into friends. Work out what your mental fitness is out of 10, your physical fitness out of 10. And believe me, both of those can work beautifully together. I'm on a bit of a crusade at the moment. I've lost nearly 25 kilos and my mental fitness has got stronger because of my physical fitness. So I hope that gives you some tips to work on. Find that Gotcha for Life friend. Be vulnerable, be open, and let yourself get out of control just for a moment and let someone know how you truly feel. Take off the mask, take off the armor, and just be you. And if you've got someone in your life that loves you and you have that beautiful bond with, it's the best. So thank you very much. Thanks for listening to me. I hope that helps, and we'll get through this this virus. It's starting to slow up right now, but it just shows how much connection is important. So please get that really true, deep connection with one of your mates. Turn them into friends. And from everyone here at Gotcha for Life, I'm Gus Worland. Thanks for listening to me. Bye.
Thanks so much, Gus. I encourage you to check out Gotcha for Life website to see what they have in store for the rest of the year. Please also remember to visit Men's Health Week website, menshealthweek.org.au, to see the range of resources that we've made available for you this year. I'm also very enthusiastic about the following collection of experiences from a diverse range of people who are involved in researching, promoting, and working in the area of male health and well-being. You will see and hear from their experiences how it is everyone's business to work together for men's health.
In my experience, both here and in Canada, I find that what makes men healthier, what defines men as being healthy, is this idea of holistic health and making sure that they're okay physically, mentally, emotionally, and socially. And one of the top issues, I think, in doing that is prevention and getting men to engage or be involved early on before it's too late. And I think the way we do that is by working with men as end users, as well as stakeholders in the community, and developing programs that are innovative, that really talk to men and kind of incorporate what their virtues and interests.
For males to be healthy does not just mean the absence of disease. It also incorporates the ability to function in their work, home and personal life with contentment and satisfaction, living life to the full, and having a sense of wellness. Being healthy also means the ability to reach out for help when needed and bounce back when faced with an illness or life setback.
For me, when I think what it means for males to be healthy, it's about being physically healthy, mentally healthy, and emotionally healthy. There's no point just being healthy in one or two of these different spaces, because it's about that holistic health, making sure that we look after each of those components, and we're constantly trying to actively get better and get healthier within our physical health, mental health and emotional health.
For men and boys to be healthy, it's important to view health holistically. We tend to focus a lot on our physical health, and while our body weight, blood pressure and engagement in positive lifestyle behaviours are all incredibly important, it's also imperative that we remember that positive mental health, the presence of healthy relationships and social connectedness all form part of that bigger picture.
I believe that for males to be healthy, it's important first to be active and to exercise and to have opportunities to take care of their health holistically. And also it's very important to participate, to have opportunities to be part of different things and be part of their community. And I also feel it's very important for them to be trusted and accepted and cared for.
Top priority in my work would be the staggering number of male suicides in Australia. 3 out of 4 suicides are male, which equates to 6 men a day we are losing to suicide in our communities. This has a strong ripple effect and puts those closest to those males that suicide at risk of mental health issues and also at heightened risk of suicide themselves. High risk factors for men correlate to how society defines masculinity as being strong, dependable, and able to provide for their family. Risk of suicide happens when men can't meet those expectations. These risk factors include separation, divorce, custody battles, unemployment, financial insecurity, and the isolation that often accompanies these events. With the coronavirus, we are currently seeing an exacerbation of these risk factors as more men are losing their jobs, experiencing financial instability, and are being cut from their day-to-day social interactions.
In terms of a top priority for a men's health issue at the moment, I definitely think mental health is definitely a top issue. It's something that as a community we are getting better at identifying and being open about, but I still think we've got a long way to go. Obviously it's important to be physically and emotionally healthy, but to be able to identify when we're not at our best mentally and asking for help, and really reducing the stigma around people who do ask for help and admit that they need assistance within their mental health. We're on the right track, but yeah, we've still got a long way to go. I think that's definitely one of the top priorities at the moment.
Through the Active Breed program developed by my team and I, we've identified and are attempting to address a number of health priorities in the southwestern Sydney region. Rates of overweight, obesity and diabetes are incredibly high, and there's a recognised need for more mental health support, particularly for men. Promoting regular physical activity and more healthful dietary choices are imperative in tackling rates of chronic disease. But we've also identified an opportunity to use football as a platform to start important conversations about mental health, looking out for your mates, and recognising signs and symptoms of depression, as well as the health services available in the region.
One of the top priority men's health issue that I'm focusing on my work is actually how men can also be part of the society in terms of feeling connected and participating in different aspects of community and society. And I feel something that we can all do to improve the health of men and boys is to actually be open-minded when it comes to men, because we are men, we are also fathers, we are sometimes we are artists, we dance, we sing, we do poetry, we do sports, we have emotions. So I feel like it's important for the society, for us and for everyone to be open-minded and see men for their humanity and who we really are, human beings with the same needs as everyone else. Thank you.
In what I'm about to say, I ask what we can do together to understand the complexity of men's health. In addressing the needs of gay, bisexual and trans and culturally diverse people, it's hard for me to not actively contest the heteronormative assumptions about men and boys as a group having similar needs without also sounding like I'm contesting what I see as the tendency to talk about men and boys as if they're a homogenous group. Not all men have the same challenges, not all gay, bi, trans men have the same health needs. Men and boys of colour are vexed by inadequate access to healthcare and information on sexual health in their local communities. What does men's health mean for queer youth whose entire sex education presupposes a reproductive heterosexual male? What does men's health mean for a trans man who may have cervical cancer? So let's be clear, when we're talking about men's health, that we're not unknowingly excluding certain people from our taken for granted assumptions about who or what a man might be.
I think what we can do to help support the health of men and boys of all ages is just to be there for each other, to reduce the stigma around asking for help. There's always been that stigma of someone, particularly males who are tough, don't need help and assistance in improving their health. But why is asking for help and going to the gym and asking for help and about eating healthy to get your physical health right any different to asking for help with your mental and emotional health? For me, there's no difference, and I think it's just about providing that support and reducing that stigma around the mental and emotional support, so men and boys can be vulnerable and can really share with people that when they're not feeling their best. I think by having people in a support network that can be there for each other, that's really going to allow men and boys of all ages to put their hands up when they're not feeling their best.
To support and improve the health of men and boys, I believe there's an urgent need for accessible programs that build a sense of camaraderie and community. We need to provide opportunities for mentorship, reliable health information, and supportive environments in which any topic or challenge can be discussed with trust and confidence. And I truly believe that regardless of our gender, our age, our occupation, or our background, if we recognise the strengths of men and boys, if we empower them to make positive lifestyle decisions and look after their physical and mental health, and if we encourage them to be the best versions of themselves that they can possibly be, we can all be champions for men's health.
Lifeline plays a vital role in supporting Australians when they are in crisis through our 24/7 crisis support line and online crisis support chat. We know from our more than 1 million interactions each year that reaching out when people are struggling can be hard. It shows real courage. Education plays a large part in reducing this stigma, and we train over 2,000 people in southwestern Sydney each year in mental health and suicide prevention. This not only increases awareness of suicide prevention in our community, it also paves the way to have open and honest discussions about mental health and suicide.
So important, Men's Health Week, and it's just one of the strategies that helps draw attention to the important work that we are all trying to do. And hopefully you have gained some information and some stuff that you can do within your own relationships after hearing what I was talking about. So I want to wish you guys a great and meaningful week. And if I can be of any assistance at all, please contact me through my socials or at gotchaforlife.org, our website. So thanks again for having me involved, and have a fantastic week.
Thanks everyone for joining us, and have a great Men's Health Week.